one of the things that I really appreciated about Mira's approach to the character of Bobby was that she wanted him to be as complex and as interesting and as valued a character as Changes. And I felt when we first met and started to talk about the script that it was very important that the American, particularly because the American happened to be a CIA agent, that the American represents something more than what he did for a living or what his politics were. And so Mira's willingness to embark on a journey of discovering this character and looking at him as a literary person who had come from journalism, who had written some books, and in many ways had empathized with Changes's love of literature and politics and art, and from that had been through a painful event that had put him in a position to become an operative. Not only that, but that he could, this was even more tricky, and Mira was willing to go there, that he could defend his position as an agent of the Central Intelligence Agency in Pakistan, which I thought was a very, very interesting way to go in this film. And I think that's probably where the calmness comes from, because in fact, what I also thought was so beautiful about Mohsin's book was just the elegance of the conversation and the nature of the conversation and the fact that the men are having tea seemed to me to be very important, and Changes's whole attitude towards Bobby, which was, I don't care who you are or where you're from, let's just have some tea first. And that felt right. That felt like we were on to something. So it didn't feel like we needed to set the stakes too high too soon, and that Bobby was in fact very comfortable around this man and would, under different circumstances, maybe have been great friends. I think the great irony about actors is they start out as outsiders and they're working desperately to become like everyone else. But the sheer act of acting just makes them more and more different. So that, personally, I relate to. One of the things that Mira was also interested in developing in Bobby was one of these guys who's become a really, he's a member of an expat community, and he really wants to fit in Pakistan, that he really wants to belong. He's, he's smoking hashish, he's seeing Pakistani women, and he's trying to immerse himself, and not just for the Central Intelligence Agency, but because it's really who he is, that he somehow wants to belong there in a place that he knows he never will belong. And there was a sadness in that. Not meant to imply that smoking hashish made him Pakistani, because that would be a huge. Yeah. Anyways, sorry. No, but that I think for me that belied a certain level of pain, that he was covering some pain, that he felt somehow disconnected from his home and was trying to find a new one. And that theme was very interesting to me.